So the interesting data I'm going to show is how let me make sure about this here. How we use the Hertz when we take this raw data, the spectral plots, and apply it to the normative comparison. We can look at those Hertz now and see how much are excess or how much are in deficit compared to the healthy group. And we have discern that there's a ratio approximately of each Hertz approximates the year for the person. So the average energy for a person around who's age 6 is 6 Hertz. Their peak frequency will be closer to 10, but their average in entropy around 6. And same thing with 7 and 8. Actually, we're going to come back to this because I'm going to stay on the activity 1 plots. And just the idea in a way is that we're going to realize that there's a lot of cycles out there. Everything's in cycles and rhythms in the cosmos, and our brain is obviously the ultimate of that. So sometimes they call it the tree ring model. That each year we add another cerebral cycle when we're processing per heartbeat. And the heartbeat's approximately a second. So every year we add approximately 1 Hertz to our speed, our average energies. And definitely from the first 12 years or so, we see that. And afterwards, it's probably there, but because our peak frequency, most people are stopping around 10 for the peak frequency, we generally stay around 10 for our peaks. Okay, so this model is the idea that the brain emerges in a rhythmic environment, and it's seeking homeostasis, and it's getting this blood flow, these getting bursts of blood flow about once a second, a little bit faster when you're younger, obviously. And it's finding this seasonal rhythm that's going on, and it's trying to equate the two. So every time, like there's another year, it adds another cycle. And so you can think of it as each year passes, we're getting faster and faster frequencies. And we see this, like no one would question this in terms of peak frequency. Peak frequency, we see, young kids are slower and they head up towards 10 Hertz as their peak frequency, 10 and a quarter. And they go past that. You typically see a lot of them go past it, 11 and 12 Hertz in their early teenage years. And sometimes it takes them a while to come back to 10. But so that we know that peak frequency. Now, in the average frequency, so the peak frequency looks like it speeds up about 1/2 a Hertz per year, from like age 5 approximately. It adds 1/2 Hertz each year. But the average adds about 1 Hertz per year, about 1 cycle per year. And again, it's a messy coordination at some level because the heart's not giving you exactly a second. It will be different, but it's approximates it pretty well. Okay, so the idea is you're getting 1 brain cycle per year. We have some genetic heritage, so our peak is coming off much faster, very quicker, but the rest of the brain, much of the brain rhythms are just going pretty much the Hertz is equal to the years on average. 2, you see 2 peaks, 2 cycles, cerebral cycles per heartbeat, 3 cerebral cycles per heartbeat. And it goes on. So like I said, you see these 2 maturation rhythms. About the peak frequency goes about 1/2 a Hertz per year faster until it hits a max, and then eventually looks to roll back in most people to 10 and a quarter. So we'll get up to around 12, sometimes 11 to 12, and starts rolling back. And actually can hit 10 and stay at 10 because that's where most people are at. But it's like this pressure to go 1/2 a Hertz per year. But the average energy in the entropy eyes closed condition is about 1 Hertz per year. And just to show you some data now, and you can see the peak, and you can see something, the peak is faster, but the average is down here, and they're more in the midst of this stuff. So the peak is one component you see, but the overall sort of centroid is here is slower than the peak by far. And so the peak is increasing just a little bit, but the energy is eventually, mostly, and then more energy is going into the peak. And that's eventually why 10 Hertz, we could be at 10 years of age, we should be at 10 Hertz. And you can see it rise up, and you can see an increase and more peaks in the front of the head. These are kids who have issues, so they're going to be a little bit more immature in the front of the head than most. Here's one has a harmonic. We talked about the other day in a previous video, where the harmonic is actually ascribing more agency to the environment than to yourself. The person's alpha peak's gone. It's in that mix right there. Just an example. Here's someone who we happen to have a recording where they didn't really get much neurofeedback from age 6 to 7. You can see the peak's already up there. It looks like at 9 already by age 6. And stays there at 7, and not much actually happened because there was no intervention really that happened for this individual. I think they had like 3 sessions the whole time. Okay, here's an example of someone who's improving, age 11, 13, and 15. Sometimes you actually see someone go faster, they'll be going faster and they'll slow down because they're starting to synchronize with the people around them. But you can see that as an example of someone who's increasing speed from 11 to 15, 11 to 13. Okay, this is now looking at 30 healthy children. What is the rate based on the years? Here's the years over here. And the weird, interesting thing happens is we have a sort of slowing right after. It rises above 10. See, there's the 10 hertz range, even 10 1/4. It rises above. This has been smooth, I believe, a little bit. And then it goes back down low, and then it finds 10 again. So it drops or it hits 10 and stays there. Now, maybe it's a little bit aberration from the data, but we see it rise above the 10 and then come back. And then there's a reason to come back. It's more efficient to be with your peers and your teachers. Your teacher is all 10 hertz or 9 hertz. They're going to be typically slower, sometimes even 8. And your peers may be going 11 and 12 hertz when you're 13, 14 years old, but the teachers are not typically. So when you think about it, we have this natural rate that's occurring, 0.5 hertz per year, occurring in speed. And you can see it passes the 10 and it's even, almost 10 3/4. And then something going on puberty, something being divided in half. When we're here, you thought you were the 1.0, everything, and then you get divided in half. And then you probably have the social influence pressure just through feedback with others to go the same speed as them. You see synchronization all the time between people in various measures. Okay, here's some data collected in the psychiatry journal. Shows how a schizophrenic, it looks like 11-year-old. It looks like a young child in a way. It doesn't. Here's the adult speed, and the schizophrenic is looking like a young 11 or 12-year-old in essence. And they have 11, 12, 13 slower here. I guess that's 11, 12, but usually they're as fast or faster than the adults. Don't know how much data they really collected, but there's a case of someone staying in their adolescent brain, being a schizophrenic. Again, with the default network training, we can alter the peaks. The peaks are harder. It's harder to change. Usually we can knock down harmonics. So this mild reduction, but we would like to increase that alpha. That's the most important element. But again, in terms of really the most important element, this is the minor player, the sensory rhythm. It is the theta unity that we look at, which is the measure of how much the subcortex is in charge. That's the thing we change most readily. Okay, so looking at Hertz for years, you can do a sort of an interesting test. You can look at your life inside of your brain. It's like the tree rings. And here I have data I collected. This is actually data when I was 28 years old. We don't want, in this one, typically want green. We don't want blue. Blue's okay. We don't definitely want orange. Orange is the color we worry about the most. And you can see here there's transparency. When you see orange, is transparency. Now, a singlet, this is actually being compared to a norm of an 8-year-old. So you're going to be showing maturity here. The singlets are in charge pretty much in our brain until we probably started entering school. So age 5, 6 or something or beyond. So you can see my singlets are a problem. Age 2, age 3, age 4. Again, I'm being compared to 8-year-old in this one. So now it's getting closer to 5, probably getting more socialized. 6, I'm getting more socialized. Here's the verbal content. When you see blue, that's where your mind has slowed down the connectivity, and so you can think that's where you're putting more mental effort. I was dealing with language. I was dealing with pronunciations. In fact, I had the 3 sounds I couldn't make very well. So taking phonemic classes. Two sounds they changed. One they didn't because I lived in the Boston area, so they never helped me with saying the letter R. But other ones like the 3 and play, like I can say puh, la together. All right, so my dorsals, you can see I have yellow up there. I think I'm gonna have yellow all the way through there. Left side's kind of like you see, it's your singular sense of self, and this is your social brain, and this is where we process verbal content. And you see also in temporal lobe, I have that here. I'm 8, 9, 10, getting more of attention going on here. Playing sports, maybe that's part of it. 11, 12, 13, easily normal, but I had kind of a photographic memory, and I think this is what the temporal lobe is picking up there. The temporal lobe is staying there. 15, 16, 17. And I got depressed on age 21. You can see the singlets. You don't want the singlets to be orange like that. It's a sign something's wrong. So 22, Iowa, normalized there. There's the bar. 24, at UCLA. And my temporal lobe's still showing things. That was my sister there. And working at Edwards Air Force Base and other things, getting my diploma. And life continuing. Now I'm getting the auditory is going yellow on both sides. I'm about to have a kid. Here's the kids being born. And then other kids being born. Teaching, kids growing up. Still got the temporal lobe. That's probably the eidetic memory somewhat. Something going on in the right auditory. When it's orange, it could be a sign that you're attuned to the emotion or music or nature. But it could be a problem. And it probably was. And their last one being born. And I say I go up to age 45. And then we stop at 45. Saying about the same protocol. The same view. Alrighty. So that's a way to look at it in terms of how our cerebral cycles are like natural phenomenon, not unlike an Earth's orbit around the sun. They are being compelled by natural phenomenon, so it is a messy in some level. It's not going to be perfect 1-to-1 year per hertz, but it's going to be approximated. All right, thank you.